Happy Thanksgiving. My name is Grant Cohn. I'm here to talk about the 49ers with you, for you, to you on a night where you shouldn't be thinking about the 49ers at all, but they won by a lot. They're 8-3. They beat the Seahawks. They were on national television. And when this happens, when they have a big win and it's on national TV, who gets praised? Kyle Shanahan, Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, everyone on the offense. But this was about the defense today. It was the whole team, but this was about the defense. And I think before we just move on and give Kyle Shanahan all the credit, I think we all need to apologize to Steve Wilks. I think Steve Wilks deserves a bunch of apologies from everyone. And I'll start because this team had a little bit of a losing streak. And then all of a sudden, he was the scapegoat. Instantly. He had to change where he was calling plays. Then he did. Now for 3 weeks in a row, the defense has been completely dominant, forcing turnovers. No one has anything to say about Steve Wilks anymore. It was all his fault, even though, frankly, the offense was worse than the defense during the losing streak. He took the brunt of the blame. He regrouped during the bye week. He got Chase Young, who did nothing in this game. And now he can't freaking miss. And no one has anything to say about Steve Wilks anymore. His pass rush got 6 sacks in this game. The run defense was on point. And the coverage was outstanding. He's a defensive back specialist. He's been a DB coach for a very long time. And now, after half a season, you're seeing the cornerbacks on this team make real strides, big improvement. We haven't seen corners improve like this on the Niners ever. Ever. I'm going to talk about the corners later. But Steve, I feel like it was important to start this stream talking about Steve Wilks. He's only a topic that draws attention if he messed up. But when the defense does good, everyone wants to say, well, Nick Bosa had a good game. Yeah, he did. But what about Steve Wilks? Because we know this is a defensive team, and for the Niners to win the Super Bowl, their defensive coach has to essentially be a co-head coach at least. And I don't know if Steve Wilks was like falling short of that for a while, or he wasn't quite up to it. He didn't quite understand, or he was learning, he just getting acquainted. It was new to him, but now it seems like he's in the zone. Gave up 13 points today, but it should have been 6. He's really good. He's really good. I don't know. Maybe there was some issue with him being in the booth, but now that he's on the sideline and he can talk directly to the players, it seems like not only do they play hard for him, but he also has, he does a lot of interesting schematic things. He's a little bit more diverse, expansive than his predecessors, Saleh and D'Amico. Like he had a rush today where he had Armstead, like a third down, we had Armstead at D end, Hargrave at D end, Chase Young and Nick Bosa standing up in the middle, and that got a sack for Hargrave. I think it's fun to see Steve Wilks, all of his creativity and his confidence come out, and I think it's cool that he doesn't expect any credit because he's not going to get any. Steve, I'm sorry. I said that they should fire you. Then you kind of smirked after the bye week and said, man, I'm built for this. This is what I do. You were right. D'Amico Ryan struggled his first half of the season with the 49ers, then he was really good after that. Maybe that's what Steve Wilks is doing too. Maybe he just needed a little bit of an acclimation process, but he deserves the game ball. They should let him go back up to the booth. They should let him call plays underground. Wherever he wants to call plays, they should give him a raise. Kyle should at least give him an apology. I gave him an apology. Kyle, I gave Steve Wilks an apology. It's your turn. Let's do it together. More praise. Deebo Samuel. This week I said that basically he's the most overpaid player in the team. They got to get rid of him. That I said of all the Niners stars, he has the least pride. And I believe that. You don't have to worry about Brandon Ayuk or Christian McCaffrey or George Kittle being in shape. You do with this guy, which is strange because he's going to be making $28 million next year. He's like 28 years old. Figures he's a little old for that. But the thing about Deebo is, to his credit, he has a tremendous ego. And I say to his credit because I don't think you can be a great wide receiver and not have a big ego. You really have to think you're the best. And he does. He thinks he's the best no matter what he does. Like, he doesn't have to prove it. But if it's a nationally televised game, if it's the Seahawks, if it's that rivalry on television, Thursday night football, Thanksgiving, it like speaks to his ego. It's like, my ego won't let me not show up for this game. And so he showed out. He was great. 94 yards from scrimmage, a touchdown. That's the thing about this Niners team. They're very arrogant and they all have huge egos. But a game like this brings out the ego in all of them, especially Deebo Samuel. You know he's not going to sleepwalk through this game when everyone's watching. This is a game for him. He showed up. They gave him the ball early and often. He was great. And it's good to know that Deebo Samuel still has that gear when needed, because a lot of weeks he's got nothing. He's disengaged. He's not in the game plan, and they win without him, in spite of him. In this game, it was him and Christian McCaffrey. They were the driving forces of the offense. George Kittle was blocking, and Brandon Ayuk was getting frozen out by his coach. We're going to talk about that later, but Deebo was great. Deebo carried him. And it's important to remember that as the playoffs approach, that he can do this. It's just whether he wants to or whether Kyle Shanahan trusts him to. Kyle, as a coach, has to figure out a way to play to Deebo's ego every week. But I guess, I don't know. You can't manufacture a big game on Thanksgiving. That's just what it was. And Killian of the San Francisco Chronicle predicted that Deebo was going to have a breakout game. She was right. I think it's important to remember the circumstances that led to that. He's a little bit like Kittle. Couple of stars who don't always necessarily go off, but they like to remind people that they're stars. And Deebo Samuel was a star tonight. So Deebo, apologize to you as well for saying that you were super overpaid. You can still earn it. It'd be nice if you did it more. But tonight you did it in a game that the Niners needed. Divisional game. Kyle Shanahan set it up for you, teed you up, and you were vintage Deebo Samuel. Hold on. Manny PSF says, I fear what Purdy could do. Manny PSF, that's Jason Dumas, Kron. He says, early thoughts on Niners-Eagles. Man, I'm going to tell you later. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that in this one. He's the Eagles guy. Manny PSF says, I fear what Purdy could do with Philly level O-line. When he has time, he is too good. Fast. Says, Kyle talked to Wilks about being a better communicator, challenging him to move to the field, and Wilks did better. Great coaching, Kyle. That's coaching. Great coaching, Kyle. Mike, is that you? Mike Shanahan? Is that you? What's up, Jason? What's up, Jason? No, I swear to goodness, I swear to God that the Eagles are one of my topics. I'm just going to make you wait for that one, Jason. Sorry. I got to look ahead. We'll save that for the look ahead. I know you want to see it. Sessions says Travarius Ward would be defensive player of the year if he went versus DK every game. Hey, Travarius Ward was phenomenal in this game. Adrian Cuevas says maybe Seattle's 3-safety look worked pretty well, limiting Purdy and Kyle. Yeah, it did great against the pass. It was terrible against the run. Freaking terrible against the run. Right? All right. Moving on. Kyle Shanahan. He's the head coach of a team that just won 31-13, so I'm not going to be too critical of the guy, but I don't understand how the offense can look that good in the first half and then struggle that much in the third quarter. They scored 24 points. They couldn't miss in the first half. And then in the third quarter, they couldn't score any points. And it's like, when are you going to get Brandon Ayuk the ball? And to Kyle's credit, he got him the ball with the game on the line. And it's like, if you watch that play to Ayuk, it was him man to man against Devin Witherspoon. He destroyed Devin Witherspoon. He was open by like 5 or 6 yards. So there's never a good reason to not throw the ball to Brandon Ayuk 8, 9, 10 times in the game. He got 4 targets in this game. And it's like, I'm not trying to nitpick a win, but there was a 0-point third quarter, and they had to wait until the fourth quarter to put this game away. In the future, Kyle, you could, that pass that you called for Brandon Ayuk in the fourth quarter, you are allowed to call that in the third quarter. In fact, I would, as your attorney, I am now your honorary attorney and your quality control coach. As your honorary attorney, I would highly recommend you call that play in the third quarter next time. Why wait? Why wait? I don't know. His run game was great. His usage of McCaffrey was perfect. His usage of Deebo was perfect. He used Kittle as a blocker, great. But Ayuk is the man on this team. I'm not saying he's Jerry Rice, but he's not John Taylor. He's the man. And in this game, the team that shut him down was the Niners. Devin Witherspoon didn't shut down Brandon Ayuk. Kyle did. So, Kyle, just something to think about. You're doing really good, man. Really good. Got the run game going, but you shut down Brandon Ayuk in this game. He can't be stopped right now. He's hot. You got in his way. And it was 24-13 for a little bit. It was almost a game because you messed around in the third quarter and didn't give Brandon Ayuk the ball, man. It's not that hard. He gets open. You can just call his number. It's not hard. You don't have to. With Deebo, you have to manufacture him looks. Play action, underneath the offensive line, all the screens and stuff. But Brandon Ayuk, you could just let him run routes and then throw him the ball. That's how you get it to him. You let him run routes and then you throw him the ball. Did anyone else notice that? Like, why is Brandon Ayuk not in the game plan this week? Maybe it's the opposite of Deebo, where like Kyle understands that Deebo's a big game player. He's going to rise to the occasion. He likes the big stage. Maybe Kyle feels like Brandon Ayuk isn't that guy because he hasn't had a lot of like big games or big game-winning moments, or he played junior college, or he went to Arizona State. I don't know how he decides who's ready for the moment, but it's Ayuk. I mean, Kyle messed around all game, and then when he really needed to play, who'd he go to? Ayuk. So if you trust him in the fourth quarter, why not the first, second, and third? And I think it's fair to say now that Ayuk is like, he just won the game. Deebo Samuel took him to the end, but Ayuk got him across the finish line. He is a clutch player. He is a game breaker. He is an elite wide receiver. A month and a half ago, I said no. He was dropping catches. Deebo Samuel was out, and Ayuk wasn't stepping up. Ever since then, he's been stepping up. One of the best wide receivers in the league. Not many wide receivers better than him. Tyreek Hill's a little bit better than him, but I mean, I take him over Devontae Adams, younger than him. Kyle, please don't freeze out Brandon Ayuk anymore. I know you haven't paid him yet, and on national television, you like to feature all the really high-priced stars in your team, but Ayuk, he's a little quiet. He's not necessarily a star. To his credit, you know what he is? Football player. He's a football player. And he barely, have you ever heard Brandon Ayuk talk at a press conference? He talks like this. Yeah, we just really got to like play better. And it's like very quiet. The most non-drawn attention to himself dude of all time. And so Kyle forgets about it from time to time. Because Brandon Ayuk's on the sideline probably like, man, I really want Kyle to call me some plays. But like, I talked to him about it, and I went right up to him. I was like, hey, Kyle, like, are you going to throw me the ball? And he was like, I don't know, man. Like, I was trying to get the ball to Deebo, and I was like, man, I'm just over here open all game. And like, if you could really throw me the ball, it'd be nice. But like, I don't know what I have to do. I go up to him. I say, hey, Kyle, I like you, man. I want the ball, but you don't throw it to me. Like, Deebo's over there. He's like not open ever. I'm open all the time, but you didn't want to throw me. That's Brandon Ayuk. That's my impression of Brandon Ayuk. I don't know, man. He just like, I go over to him. He wants to give me the ball. I like Brandon Ayuk for that. Like, he doesn't draw attention to himself. He's not a star. He's a football player. So, Kyle, it's on you, man. He's really good. Give him the ball. It's on you. Adrian, no, got you. Drunken Ninja. Looked like the Niners got bored in the first half. I got bored in the first half. It's Vito, baby, says you should be the head coach, Grant. I miss Mason. I miss him too. Jeremy Hahn says Brock made that call to Ayuk. Kyle said impressor. What is Kyle's problem with Ayuk then? Jenna Toll says, yo, Grant, Niners feasted on sea chickens tonight and left no leftovers. Shout out Grant for the great coverage. Can I get a Fernando? Yeah. Eric Jensen says Brock makes Ayuk that guy. Yeah. I think Jimmy was very Deebo-centric, but Brock understands. Fernando. Plumbing God. Eric Jensen. Kyle drafted Ayuk in the first round. Enough said. Traded up for him. Abu Marco 23 says, our wins this year have all been blowouts. And that scares me. The 2019 run was filled with a ton of one-possession games. We need that experience. Well, next week could be one. Kilo T Dub says, I know you asked Kyle about JP Mason, but shouldn't Mitchell get more touches? He's been looking really good lately. He looks healthy. Good for Mitchell. Chance 099 says, number 11, not in Cabo click. So no shine for you. Agree. Let's talk a little game time now. Worry when you're buying tickets to your next big event. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. With killer last minute deals, all in prices, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. What are some of the things I like about the Game Time app experience? Here's some examples: last minute tickets, flash deals, zone deals, easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area, views from all seats in the venue, lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection, etc. Plus, they're obsessed with finding ways to help you save money on tickets. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the start of the event, and even an hour after it starts. It's the place to find last minute seats. Find exclusive flash deals and sponsored deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. With zone deals, you pick the section and Game Time picks the seats for an average of 18% savings. And the Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code IGGY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code IGGY for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right. Thank you very much, Game Time. Now it's time to talk about Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy was a little shaky in this game. He was good enough. They won the game. They scored 31 points. But he was a little shaky in this game. And don't take my word for it. How did Kyle Shanahan act? How was he calling plays? They went up 24-0. Everything was great. But Purdy's numbers weren't so good. You know, like when they got around the end zone, they handed off. So he could have had some easy gimme touchdowns. They handed off. They had 3 rushing touchdowns. So he couldn't pad his passer rating that way. But he wasn't throwing for a lot of yards. And once Kyle Shanahan took Brandon Ayuk out of the game plan, it was hard for Brock Purdy to really dominate like that. Maybe that's on Kyle. Maybe if you called some more passes for Brandon Ayuk and Brock Purdy didn't have to do it himself, he would have thrown for more yards. But didn't throw for a lot of yards in the first half, and then the third half happens. And it's a disaster. Early on, he throws a pick six. Like, it's not a game. And he makes it a game by giving him a touchdown. And we know how Kyle Shanahan reacts to quarterbacks when they do stuff like that. Go back to 2019. Jimmy Garoppolo was 8-0 at one point. He was as lauded and hyped as Brock Purdy is right now. Oh, he was. Don't lie to yourself. He was. He was 13-3 that year. Then he went to the playoffs and had one shaky game, and Kyle Shanahan essentially never trusted him again. I don't think we're there with Brock. But in this game, you saw it with Kyle. He does this. He has this tendency. He's a short fuse. Brock Purdy threw that pick six. That was it for Brock Purdy. Goodbye, Brock. It's not your game. We're taking the game out of your hands. I no longer trust you. We're going to hand off. We might let you throw a couple screens. And then when they were up 31-3 with 2 minutes left, Kyle started calling play action stuff to pad his stats a little bit. But essentially, Kyle's like, I'm not letting you lose this game. We have a 21-point lead. You just made it a 14-point lead with that awful pick six. And it was an awful pick six. Now, maybe Christian McCaffrey, he tipped it. But it's like, what's he supposed to do? Not try to catch the ball? It was an awful throw. He's running just a little angle route over the middle. Purdy misses way high, way out in front. It's like a 5-yard throw. We've seen him make that throw. That wasn't a good one. What's Christian supposed to do? Not try? If he doesn't try, he can get picked too. So this was interesting. It was the first time we've seen really Purdy struggle with a lead. He had a 21-point lead in the second half and threw a pick six. We haven't seen that from him. Usually the turnovers happen when he's losing. Kind of scary that he did it with a 21-point lead. I can see why Kyle Shanahan would freak out a little bit. Like, man, I don't need you to do anything. We're up. We're winning. What are you doing? If I can't trust you to throw a 5-yard pass over the middle to Christian McCaffrey, I'm running the ball and getting it the hell out of here. And we'll talk about this on Monday or Wednesday. But I don't know. Maybe you are just overjoyed about the big win and think Purdy was great. Nothing to talk about. He'll move on. But I don't think Kyle feels that way. I guess I want to see how this performance affects Kyle Shanahan's play calling the rest of the season. Is this going to stick in his head? Because Kyle has a good memory. I feel like that 5 interception practice that Jimmy Garoppolo had that one time stuck in his head forever. Never forgot it. Neither did I. This isn't Jimmy Garoppolo 2.0. He's much better. Moves really well, avoids pressure. But can you trust him? I don't know. Kyle doesn't seem to know either. Used to be if you gave him a lead, it's over. Nothing to worry about. And this one, he gave you something to worry about. They still won by a lot. The offensive line got a whole lot better with the addition of John Feliciano. Couple of weeks he was playing left guard. He was good. Spencer Burford goes down. He goes to right guard. All of a sudden, they're gashing teams with outside zone runs to the right for the first time in years. Years! All of a sudden, they're getting like push on the right side of the offensive line. And John Feliciano, it's not like he's an all-pro. He's a fringe starter journeyman. And he just made the offensive line a lot better. I don't know why the Niners were so patient with Spencer Burford. They must feel that in a few years, he's going to be good. He's still really young. But on this team, with these aspirations, enough. Spencer, you just got your job taken. John Feliciano is a new right guard. Should be. They don't have to say it. They can say he's hurt or something. But they can't go back to Spencer Burford. Feliciano's better. You saw it in this game. Ever since he's been in the offense, the run game has been better. He's way stronger than Burford. He's like an older Aaron Banks. They got to stick with Feliciano. Give Chris Forrester credit. They don't give him a lot of talent. He's a great position coach. And this whole offensive line is like Trent Williams, Chris Forrester, and the supporting cast. It'd be interesting to see what the Niners could do if they now got Jalen Moore at right tackle. We were talking about putting Feliciano at right guard for a while. They did it. It works. If this were a Madden team, I'd already have Jalen Moore at right tackle, but it's not. And I don't play Madden. But that's what they should do. Quality control it up, man. We already said. Play Feliciano. You took our advice. Go one step further. Play Jalen Moore at right tackle. It couldn't hurt. Give it a shot. But everything in due time. There was that game that McKivitz almost didn't play at right tackle, and they could have seen it then, but he played. Would have been they shouldn't have played him. It would have been a perfect opportunity to see someone else at right tackle, but God forbid. How could you win a game without Colton McKivitz? It's impossible. More praise. Cornerbacks. Sorry, Jason. I'm going to get to the Eagles. I promise. Cornerbacks. I had no respect for the cornerbacks on this. I mean, I had respect, like they're professional football players in the NFL. They're all good. But at NFL standards, I thought those guys were just not cutting it. Diamador Lenore is a good player. He hasn't given up a touchdown all year. He can play inside. He can play outside. Good player. Ambry Thomas and Trevarius Ward, I don't know. I've been saying you should just go at Ambry Thomas and Trevarius Ward relentlessly. Because Trevarius Ward I called him a penalty waiting to happen in man coverage and a spectator in zone coverage. I said that. Then at Ambry, I mean, he's a spectator no matter what. But in this game, they were like lockdown, press, man-to-man coverage corners. They kept going after Trevarius Ward, the Seahawks, because they watch my channel. They know, and I talk a lot of crap. They took it, seriously, and I was wrong. They were wrong. And they kept trying to beat Trevarius Ward deep. I guess because they did it last year in the playoffs. It didn't work. They tried it like 3 times. Guys, if you want to try someone deep, you go at Ambry Thomas. Ambry Thomas. That's who you try to go deep at. Instead, they threw some short passes at Ambry Thomas, and he had a pick. I didn't say to do that. That's not what I said to do. Listen closer next time. When you go at Ambry, it's deep. Deep outs, corners, posts, fades. Because I think he gets a little nervous on big plays. I can't prove it. But that's what I think. Trevarius Ward, underneath, in front. He'll either commit a illegal contact or just give up the catch. So you messed up. I didn't tell you, but I don't work for you. The most important thing is how much the corners have improved. From Lenore to Trevarius Ward to Ambry Thomas. Steve Wilks has his fingerprints all over this secondary. Pause. He's doing a great job. He's a DB coach at heart. The Niners haven't had a DB coach running their defense in a very long time. You know, Fangio's a linebacker guy. Salah's a linebacker guy. D'Amico's a linebacker guy. They've had a lot of linebacker-oriented coaches, and they're great. Quarterbacks of the defense. But this Niners secondary hasn't really been that good since freaking George Seifert was here. And now it is. With the same guys who weren't that good just a few months ago. So maybe they were struggling learning a new system, but now they got it. And you can see what a good DB coach can do with some talented players if you give them like a few months. So once again, apologies to Travarius Ward, Ambry Thomas, Steve Wilks. All right, Jason, this is for you. The Niners. All right. The Niners and Eagles play next week. The Niners have a little extra time to prepare. It's going to be in Philly. I kind of feel like the Eagles are a better team than the Niners. I kind of feel that way. They have a better offensive line. They have the best offensive line. Niners don't have the best offensive line. They have a pretty weak one. That being said, it's a regular season game. And it means more to me, to the Niners, than the Eagles. The Eagles have a couple game lead on the Niners. They're in a great spot. They beat the Niners in the NFC Championship game. This rivalry is more one-sided. The Niners have something to prove against the Eagles. The Eagles don't as much. Of course, they want to beat the Niners. But I mentioned earlier with Deebo how this game sort of brought the ego out of him in a good way. Because apparently he doesn't necessarily have a standard that he can hit every day regardless of who's watching, or he needs his ego to come into play to be the best of his, to be his best. This whole team's like that. And the Eagles will bring out the ego in the Niners. The Eagles will bring out the ego in the 49ers. Shout out to the coach for giving me this whole concept. If you're watching, this is you. But people are going to say the Niners are going to lose this game. A lot of people are going to pick the Eagles to win. And that's when the Niners are at their best. They're like, oh, you don't think we're the best? Well, we'll prove it then. They're at their worst when everyone's like, when they were up 24-0 at halftime, I was like, watch, they're going to come out and mess around because everyone's saying, oh my God, they're a juggernaut. They just proved that they're the best team. I'm like, look at them go right now. And every time people say that, every time they tell themselves that, they come out and lay an egg like they did in the third quarter. They need to stop. Because once their ego is satisfied, they just fold. But their ego won't be satisfied. This is going to be an ego game for the Niners. God, and it's like, just like last week's game was an ego game for the Eagles. You're playing the Chiefs in Kansas City. They beat you in the Super Bowl. The Eagles win, and you got freaking Nick Sirianni coming off the field like, it was his Super Bowl. The Chiefs are looking past that game. And I think that's kind of what this is. Like, this is the Niners Super Bowl. It's not the Eagles Super Bowl. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Niners find a way to win this game. I just gave a whole long preamble about this matchup without saying anything that has to do with X's and O's, football, personnel. It's just all vibes. I could see the Niners winning this game next week against the Eagles. In fact, I'm thinking about picking the Niners to win the game just because that's who they are. They're so desperate to prove themselves right now. In the playoffs, I already feel like they've proven themselves. They've already established they're the best team. Doesn't matter if they lose the game. Okay, who cares? But now, freaking late November, this is it. They got to play their best. I wouldn't be surprised if the Niners win this regular season game. Let's see what Jason has to say. Deebo is a front runner. Sorry, I don't want to read your text online. Sorry, my bad. Eagles secondary can be had, though. So I'm saying this could be a Brandon Ayuk game. This could be a big-time Brandon Ayuk game. The whole team is they're all front runners, Jason. That's the thing about him. But he said, read that shit. All right, man. I got you. I think the Niners could win that. I think they could. I think the Eagles getting Kevin Byard was a nice addition. And the Eagles, I mean, they have that offensive line that can neutralize the Niners D-line and give them a chance. So we'll see. Last time the Niners played the Eagles, Jalen Hurts was terrible. But it didn't matter because they rushed for 4 touchdowns and knocked out Brock Purdy immediately. Let's see if that game's going to come down to, remember Kyle Shanahan called that I'm not saying stupid, that interesting play action pass that had Tyler Kroft blocking Hassan Reddick and then he defended the decision forever. I bet you he doesn't do anything like that next week. I bet you. Gentleman's bet. He ain't calling that this week. How much you want to bet? 2 gentlemen's bets, 2 handshakes. You got it. That's it. That's the show. I'm gonna go eat Thanksgiving dinner. It's late. Thank you for watching, everyone. I'll be back tomorrow with Larry and maybe special guests. I'll have to talk. We'll have to see. Hold on. I have a bunch of super chats I have to hit. Andy707. Yo, Grant, did you see when Kinlaw got flipped over? I did. Sorry. He got up, though. He seemed all right. It's Vito, baby. Says, I'm happy about our win, but I feel like we won by so much because Gino was hurt as well. Next game against Philly. I don't want to hear that Gino was hurt excuse. Gino just sucks. There's my analysis. I don't want to hear about his freaking injury. He threw the ball fine. He sucks. The Seahawks played themselves with that guy. Gave him $25 million a year to suck. It's the Geno Smith experience. Eric Jensen says it's a road rival game in Seattle. Come on, bruh. What does that mean? What does bruh mean? I don't understand. Crazy Gaming says Brock is a baller. Grant changes from week to week. And also, how do you know what Shanahan is thinking? And the throw was tipped, so stop putting it on Purdy. All right, man. Well, you gave me $20, so I appreciate that. And I disagree with everything you wrote, but I respect you very much, even though you're crazy about gaming, I think. So thank you. Trophy Boy Trey is really heme. Gives me $2. Thank you. David Trinidad says, rate the beauty of Purdy's spiral to Ayuk on that TD pass. I was a 14. Eric Jensen. Trey Wood had us 3-8. One bad throw. LOL. Man, why are you talking about Trey Lance? Adrian Cuevas says, has Purdy had that device on his elbow all year? I didn't see the device. I'm going to have to look at that. Anoop. O-line look robust today. Jalen Moore at right tackle, please, but Will Kyle? I don't know. So next week we have Hassan Reddick versus Colton Kivitz. Yikes. Hopefully it's an offensive tackle against Reddick. Nathan Reyes says Ward will be better. Lost confidence against DK. Gains it back against DK. That's a good point. Brother Bob says, Iglet, I'm wine and turkey drunk. Larry's lame. Defense balled out. I decoded that. J Figs Ramon gives me $2. Thank you for all of that. I'm grateful for all of you. Merry Thanksgiving and happy Hanukkah. All of it. Have a great night. I'll be back tomorrow. See you guys.